We did have a case where a client's killed in an apartment complex.
Yes.
And he has a daughter. And grandma hires us.
Great aunt.
Oh, it was a great aunt. She was the guardian of our client who passed away, his daughter. We settled that case though for the most amount of money you can get from the insurance company. I'm on the plane taking off. You tell me the case settled. I'm ecstatic. By the time the plane lands, I have an email in my inbox from another lawyer who we know saying, hey, I don't think that the daughter is the daughter. I've never been so happy and so sad in a short period of time.
So we got on the phone with that lawyer and we're like,
I forgot about
what
this.
the hell is going on? What are you even talking about? And he says, well, I represent the guy who died, his sisters.
Yeah, the two sisters.
And they say that the daughter is not actually his daughter. I was like, okay, we've been working on this case for a year and a half, 2 years.
And we told him we have messages between them, text messages where he's saying, I love you, baby. She's saying, daddy. And we sent that to him and he was like, oh, okay. And he went away. Then they went out and hired what's worse than second rate, third rate, ninth rate
scumbag.
lawyer? Scumbag? Yeah, they hire a scumbag lawyer. And now the backstory here, probably the most important part, is why the aunts decided to do this. And that's because the insurance company sent a private investigator to question them, and we got those recordings through this whole process.
A year afterwards. So we didn't know why they thought that they could recover in this case. Well, the investigator had told them.
That was the start of it. His name wasn't on the birth certificate.
They said, hey, if the daughter is not the daughter, then all of a sudden you guys would be in line to get this money. The insurance company has already agreed from these folks' good work that it's going to be paid.
We went to trial. So we were going to have a trial, a mini trial on that issue about whether this daughter was the daughter. We drive down there, we are ready, and they don't show up to court.
Right.
They give up.
And we had 10 witnesses. We had gone around to all of his friends, his family members, all these people, and said, hey, we're going to have a trial to determine whether or not his daughter was his daughter. Do you know anything about this? All of his friends, all of his family members said, there's no question. He said that was his daughter. The mom said that was his daughter. The daughter says that's her dad. Your whole childhood, you know who your dad is. Your dad is tragically killed. And your aunts come out of the woodwork and say, no, wait a minute, you're not actually part of this family.
And they all live like a quarter mile from each other.
Yeah.
Like they are all in the same family nucleus.
Yeah. The first motion that we filed in that case was a petition to determine heirs, or to determine whether the daughter was the daughter, without having to exhume the body and dig it up. Because that's the only other way that you can find out.
Which we did learn that digging up a body, not as easy as you would think. Like it's a whole thing. It's a whole production. Yeah. I guess I imagine, like, I'm thinking like a mob movie. You got like 3 guys and a shovel. That is not what happens. No. Like they quarantine off the air. Like that's a very scientific thing. I also didn't know to get DNA, what did they take? Is the femur?
We would have somebody in a lab hired to document their chain of custody of fragments of the deceased person's femur from the gravesite to the lab and all through testing.
I thought they would like just pull some hair or like, you know.
You would think that they'd be able to.
No, they take your whole femur.
The experts who we talked to told us the reason for that is if they don't get enough DNA and they can't determine paternity, then they have to go back and dig the person up again.
Do you want to be buried?
No.
What do you want?
Cremated.
And then what? Because that's like
swept.
In some ways, cremation is more of like an obligation on your family members.
No, they don't need to do anything with it.
Well, no, I think they have. Like, I think the ashes.
We'll just take it and then like.
Yeah, but the where?
It doesn't matter at that point. I'm not gonna have many feelings about it.
Yeah, but I don't think you can. I don't think you can stick that on your family that they have to just pick a random place.
They shouldn't care either. You guys should not care either.
This is the start of your video will.
My name is Christopher. This is my living will.
Have you ever seen a living will? I've only seen one in movies. Sorry.
No.
I think I'm gonna make one.
Seems like something you'd do.
I have some rules for my funeral and for my.
Oh my gosh, I do not want to talk about the archer.
Well, that's not the funeral. The funeral, I want to be buried in a short sleeve shirt, and if the style is in, maybe 2 polo shirts. You know, it's coming.
Oh, yeah,
it's coming back. But I want a rule that anyone coming has to wear long sleeves and a tie. It's kind of like, look what I can do. I'm dead. I can wear what I want.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to dress up for me. I do want them to sing. He's got the whole world in his hands. Classic Catholic hymn. The He Will Raise You Up on Eagle's Wings. That one, classic. And then I want Sweet Caroline.
Do you want to continue about what you want to happen after the service?
What I want to do is I want to have a Viking funeral of sorts. I want to be cremated via being put on a boat, preferably an old wooden boat.
Diversity.
Named Diversity. I want to have archers shoot fiery arrows at the boat, setting it on fire. Like the boat would be doused in gas.
What I have told you, that's stupid. if the archer keeps missing,
I
me
think that would be
and
fun.
Alex and all
I
of
think
your
that'd be fun.
family are just going to be standing there like, fucking Mike, like the last laugh. Like,
Right.
You just,
Yeah,
like,
I think
we're all
that'd be
sitting here at his Viking funeral, and he
You know what
hired
I want the
an
boat named?
incompetent archer.
You know what I want the boat? Well, I wouldn't hire the archer, but you know what I want the boat named? Passing Wind. I've basically taken things my grandpa has said over the years and combined them into one.
Yeah.
He wants to have a property named Passing Estate. I think it's better if it's a boat that's floating out with smoke coming out of it because, you know, your dead body's being cremated.
Yeah.
But anyway, we spend 3 times as much time, effort, money proving the daughter is the daughter than proving the apartment complex was wrong and responsible for our client's death. So we basically have a second full case that's even longer than the first full case. And then we get ready for the mini trial. We show up there and they gave up. In the month leading up to that, we sent letters to their lawyers saying, we should know this is bullshit and we want our attorney's fees from you, the lawyer. And then he dropped out and then they didn't show up for court. I forgot about that.
We sent them our pretrial order that listed all of the witnesses because we had to. They didn't have a lawyer anymore, so they were the opposing party. When all of the family members and friends of our client,
Who all showed up.
they said, I don't think they're going to show up because they found out that all of us were coming and that all of us were going to call them out on their bullshit.
The issue is still open, though, at that point. They don't show up, but the issue is still open. We still have to prove that that's his daughter. I remember we ran through the whole case. We played the audio recordings. We showed the Facebook post. We called witnesses. We had, not as many, but we had 4 or 5 witnesses come.
We had enlarged versions of the text messages between the daughter and her dad before he passed. I will never forget leaving that courtroom and her asking whether she could get copies of those giant enlargements of the conversation she'd had.
We ended up giving her those big ones.
I talked with her great aunt who'd said, those are very large versions of the text messages that will take up a lot of space in our house. So I said, why don't we do this? Why don't we print out on really nice pieces of paper the exact exhibits that we used, and you can have that, you can put it in a scrapbook. It's easier to keep. She still has those. Best part about that case was the 2 sisters had the same story as to why they didn't think the daughter was the daughter, and it was because when her father was tinting their windows that he mentioned something about it. The problem was they couldn't remember which sister was supposed to say that she actually had that conversation with him, so they both said that he said it to them privately. Didn't make a whole lot of sense.
I remember hearing that story from the second sister, already knowing the first sister had said that was her story, the window tinting story. And I remember how angry I got. And I know that I used some choice words for the defense lawyer saying, like, are you guys actually going to allow this nonsense from happening? I remember just essentially screaming. I mean, just yelling at these people, like, how dare you?
Doesn't sound like something you do.
No, never. You always know where you stand.
Yeah.
Always know where you stand.